official podcast. Fierce and feminine is the talk for this series, and we are so delighted and happy to have somebody all the way from La Feria, okay, representing here. She's had an amazing result, an amazing journey, and she's going to share her story with us today. Welcome, Miss Jacklyn Lopez. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you. So happy to be here and so honored.
Have you ever done a podcast before?
No, I've never done a podcast. One time when I was pregnant, they got to hear my daughter's baby's heartbeat. So I felt like I had a little practice.
You got a little intro there. Awesome. Well, listen, I've heard that you had an amazing weight loss journey, that you have a beautiful story. So share with me, where were you before Team Beauty found you? What had you been going through? How did you say yes to us? And then we'll kick it off from there.
Before Team Beauty, I was just a stay-at-home mom. Actually, I didn't become a stay-at-home mom until Team Beauty.
Okay.
I had been working a few jobs, retail, sales, multiple jobs at the same time. And honestly, it was just sad. I was sad, just more or less with my whole mental and emotional state. I had gone through a lot in my previous years before I met my husband, where I was still kind of healing from that in my current marriage. My husband, thank God, he's been so supportive in every state and every physical, emotional state.
How long have you been married for?
Officially married 3 years.
Okay.
But we've been together for 8.
Okay.
So it's been a long.
Yes.
So, but I was just unhappy. I didn't realize that I had needed more healing until one day, I always say that God opened a door because I ended up getting an infection in my foot, which ended up sending me to the doctor. And they said, you're going to be on insulin or metformin. Either or, you're going to have to come back and get medication for that. And I was already over 260 pounds. And I was going to probably a 5XL. I don't even know if I want to push that. But I was already a 3XL, 4XL, size 22 to 24. I was already getting tight in those pants. And I shut down and I was like, oh my gosh, I cannot be this. My family has already had a history of all that, of a high blood pressure, high cholesterol, you name it, they got it, diabetes. And I didn't want to be that for my kids. I have 2 daughters. One's 4 years old, one's 7. And I wanted to be the example for them. And so I made the change. I actually had found my coach, Melba.
Where'd you find her?
On Instagram.
Okay.
I didn't even know her. And I was like, hey, Melba, I see you. I see what you're doing. Tell me what to do. And so she's like, who is this girl? And I reached out to her because I wanted that. I was already determined. And I'm a very determined person. And when I have a mindset of what I want, I'm going to get there. And so that's how I became a beauty. And within my first 8-week challenge, I lost 35 pounds.
Wow. I'm gonna clap here. Yes. Congratulations. So now, fast forward, you've lost a total of how much?
95 pounds.
95?
Yes. So I've gone down from 4XL to a size 910. On that limit there, and I have been maintaining for this past 2 weeks.
95 pounds is said easy, but it's definitely a journey, right? A journey of maybe gaining the confidence, not giving up. I mean, you're talking about 4 to 5XL, 260 pounds, already, habits, eating habits, all that way of thinking, to now transforming not only your body, but your mindset, your self-love. What was that like? Like your first 12 weeks, was it like a motivated, like, I'm going to get this, I'm not going there, like this isn't happening to me, and that's how you lost 35 pounds? Or what was that journey like? Did you have hard times? How did you overcome them?
That journey, I felt like was short for me. Since it was my first one, it was the 8 weeks. I felt like, you know what, 35 isn't enough. Like I said, I didn't realize that I had needed healing. And so during that time, I had to work on that, on myself, not only physically, but mentally and emotionally. Because there were times where I was like, I don't want to work out. I hate working out. I personally hate working out. You can ask anybody that knows me. I do not like it. But I do it because I know it's good for me. And I know that I'm trying to get somewhere.
How did you convince yourself?
Honestly, I would wake up in the morning and do my whole routine and wait until my kids were asleep because I couldn't get anything done. It was during the summer. So they were at home all the time. You already know how that is. It's difficult. So I would wait until everybody was in bed. And then I would talk myself up. I'd be like, you know what? I want this. I can't get sick. I can't get on this medication. I can't do this. And I can't be this size anymore. And because it got to the point where I couldn't breathe when I woke myself up and I started crying because I couldn't catch a breath. And my husband was like, what's wrong? And I was like, I'm slowly dying. You know, our culture has already shown us, you know, you eat everything on your plate or you're not grateful or you don't get to. And it took a lot.
It's okay.
Yeah. So already at a young age, you know, I've always been that gordita. And that was fine with me. I didn't care. I didn't start caring until maybe I was a teenager. Even then, it didn't really faze me. It didn't faze me until I had to get sick. And a lot of these things were preventable. I didn't have to go through any of that. You know, I had actually been through a lot of physical and mental, emotional abuse prior to my marriage with my current husband. Thank you. And that took a lot on me too, you know, not only at
was
a young
it because
age,
you were like overweight or what?
well,
do you
during
think?
that time I was still overweight whenever I had met that man. My ex, I was overweight and I actually had gone so thin, probably thinner than this, because I wasn't eating. I wasn't allowed to eat sometimes. There wasn't enough food. And I got sick there, but that still wasn't a wake-up call for me. I had become so thin. I was restricted on wearing certain clothes. I was only allowed to wear his clothes. And honestly, it took a big toll. And so after I got out of that relationship, I started kind of finding my comfort in the foods that I didn't get to get. And like I mentioned, like even at a young age, you learn that, hey, this is our culture. This is what we eat, you know, eating healthy. It's not really, it's not really something that the Hispanic culture is like, oh, the Mexican culture is like, yeah, keep eating that lettuce, that broccoli of yours. But it took a lot. It had already molded me into a person where I didn't feel like I deserved love. I didn't feel like I deserved happiness. And when I met my husband, he was over here trying to help me pick up all the pieces that had already been broken. And he's done that. And so when I reached out to Melva, you know, because he loves me for me, and he tells me, you look beautiful regardless. And I'm like, you're not helping me with this. Like, you don't understand. So when it came to my health, he's like, okay, I want you a little longer. So he just kind of put up with me.
Supported you?
Yeah, well, because I would tell him, you know what, I need my time. Because that had never been a thing before, where I needed to have a little self-love for myself. Because it was always me giving. And he learned to, instead of putting up with it, to agreeing with it and giving it to me and providing it. And
how did that come to play, right? Because do you feel that we could feel guilty sometimes,
Yes.
right? From like having that conversation with the person that we love and the person that loves us back, that it could genuinely just be a misunderstanding, a culture shock, like maybe even like I'm not used to this.
Yeah.
You know, other women never like
Yeah.
needed that, or just wouldn't tell me like I need my space, I need my time. So how did you, for all the women listening, okay, how did you have that conversation? Obviously, you just said, right, like you were in the verge of like huge health issues, right?
Yes.
And your weight, you know, obesity. But how was that conversation with the love of your life?
I told him, I said, hey, do you want me a little longer? You know, if something were to happen to me, honestly, really, what would you do? And he's like, I can't do anything. I need you.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, okay, well, I need you to help me too. Because my girls, they're very attached. Very attached. We're all emotional, sentimental women.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think I felt guilty anymore. Because before we have kids, before we meet our man, we're by ourselves. We have all that time to, you know, take care of ourselves. But whenever we become somebody's wife or girlfriend and have those children, you know, it's not us anymore. And we tend to forget that we also need that self-love, that self-awareness of what we're doing to ourselves as well. Mm-hmm. Because how can I be selfish enough to not take care of myself for my kids? And I put it that way because it was being selfish to my children, because I wasn't on the playground playing with them.
Yes.
I was just watching them from the sidelines.
Mm-hmm.
But I was also eating pan dulce or like drinking a Dr. Pepper. I was addicted to Dr. Pepper. You can ask Melva. I would drink like 4 gallons of those Stripe Cubs a day. It was really bad. And I'm so glad that this tea has helped me. Mm-hmm. But it has helped me in a lot of ways, Team Beauty. Mm-hmm. And when I had that conversation with him, he had to snap into reality with me. And I feel like he did. Like, he helped support me, and I prayed about it, and I was like, you know what? I understand that not only does my physical self need a little help, but my mental and emotional. Mm-hmm. And I was, like I said, I was still healing. But I had this past and my current with my husband and my family, and I needed to go on to the next chapter where everything was hand in hand with Team Beauty. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of the self-love that I learned was through Team Beauty. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know any of this. Mm-hmm. And when I was growing up, I didn't know any of that. I knew that, you know, God loved us, gave us free will, this and that, right? But I didn't understand the love mm-hmm. that he gave us. I didn't understand the love that I could give to other people.
Mm-hmm. Yes, self-love is easy. Like, it's become more and more popular, per se, right? We could say that. Empowerment has become a thing more out there, especially with social media. But it isn't a quote, right? It isn't a phrase. It isn't just something that sounds cute. Mm-hmm. Self-love is, you know, us being able to look in the mirror and be proud of that woman that we're becoming. And when sometimes people say self-love, maybe like yourself, is the process of being able to learn that through your transformation and what that means. And self-love doesn't come alone. It comes from seeking support, right? Seeking the community. So obviously we teach that in Team Beauty. So for you, what did that mean, self-love? What did it mean for Jackie in the journey to lose these 95 pounds, in the journey you've mentioned healing like 10 times already? So, you know, what does self-love mean to Jackie? Because somebody listening right now, right, can definitely relate and find, you know, a new key to their success.
Self-love for me is talking to people, not keeping it bottled up. Like these women that I got to interact with and still am currently interacting with, these are beauties that are going through the same thing. You know, they may have a different story, a different background, but they're in the same journey and process that I am with finding themselves again. Because like I said, a lot of the time we lose ourselves. So whenever I felt like, man, I can't do this. I can't do it anymore. Like, I'm tired. And I did feel like that at times.
And why were you feel tired, or what tired of?
It just like the whole trying to change, because people don't like change. And I don't like change, but I learned to love change. And whenever I would talk to these women that are also on the chats that we have, you know, I would have conversations with them, and I would say, you know, certain things, and they would just come back and reply automatically. Like, it was just instant. You know what? I've been through that. Oh, I felt like that today. And we get it done. We're our support system. And that's a lot of what people in this world don't have right now. Unfortunately, they don't have that. And I feel like that's what Team Beauty provided to me. And like I said, I mean, I just had my husband. That was my world. But I conjoined the two, you know, so I feel like more of myself. Like, I have found more of myself. And the self-love is giving attention to yourself, you know, allowing yourself to say what you're feeling. Because women sometimes, you know, I was shut down from my past relationships. You can't say that. You can't talk. You can't have this. And I cut off a lot of ties to my family and friends and relationships, all for a man who diminished me in more ways than one, you know. And I ended up jumping from one man that diminished me in that way to another man that did the same thing. And you accept the love that you think you deserve. And I had to realize I deserve so much more. So that's what the self-love was to me. And I'm still doing it. And a lot of people that I know, you can ask them, that's who Jackie is. I'm going to show you love regardless. And honestly, I don't know.
You gave yourself another chance.
Yeah.
And obviously you found a man that now, right, loves you, encourages you, elevates you, supports you, helped you with healing, right? Put all the pieces together. But you know that the only reason why that happened is because you started to love yourself. You started to set the boundaries. You started to improve yourself. And so Jackie, 95 pounds down, right? Beautiful, because, I mean, y'all go to her page, check out her testimony, check out her results. We'll also post her on the page. But beautiful, an amazing heart, an amazing being. And so you've discovered a couple things, right? I have to lose weight for my health, for my life, right? I have to heal. I'm not healed yet. And accepting that, like accepting that it wasn't all fully healed, you know, is a big, like, having the courage to understand like where I currently am. Because we were talking about this yesterday, we can have courage in public, but having courage in private to ask yourself those questions of, where am I right now? What am I doing right now? You know, where am I going personally? And you had the courage to have that talk with yourself and be like, okay, this is happening, right? And so you went from 35 pounds to, 95 pounds. And so what could you tell all these women? They're inside of their 8-week transformation, dealing through some of the same battles that you've had to deal with. You know, what are some things that, you know, you've been through in this journey that have locked you back into, okay, you know, maybe I hit a plateau, but like, okay, I went over the 40-pound mark. I went over the 50-pound mark. Like, what was that for you too? What was that, you know, hitting those milestones? did you have that goal in mind? Has it just been a process that you've enjoyed? What has it been like for you in this journey?
In the beginning, that was my goal. I told Melba I want to be 100 down, like regardless of whatever it is. So I'm still having that goal. But yeah, there's times where I'm like, is this enough? No, it's not. I have to remember that it's so much more worth it whenever I keep pushing for what I can be. And these women, I definitely been there. I understand. But I also have to, at times, remember to talk, like I mentioned, and take advantage of that to where I can communicate with my coach, Melva. When I'm feeling like, man, I don't want to do it, or man, I'm kind of like just stuck in this section here. Instead of phasing out, because there's people that do that. They phase out, they stop talking, communicating, and they ignore because they're struggling with themselves as well. But they don't have to do it alone. And that's what I did. I remembered that I wasn't by myself. That there was women doing the same thing that I could talk to, and that they could be there for me and I could be there for them. And that's what I took advantage of. I took advantage of that and communicating, like I mentioned, because we'll just stay quiet. We'll keep it to ourselves as women. Like, we'll just deal with it and we don't talk about it. And that's what I feel like kind of hurts us sometimes. We need to communicate that. And keeping up with the conversations too, but also having that mindset in the morning, waking up saying, what am I going to do today that is going to be effective for me and my family? Is me sitting on the couch eating, my husband likes hot Cheetos, the lemon ones. Is that going to be effective for me? No. I need to get my tea and my shaken so I can clean up this house for my kids so they don't have everything all tirada in the house, and make breakfast instead of going to get takeout the way we used to. And you just have to keep in mind, what are your whys? Why am I doing this? Why did I even start this journey? And that's what I always have to remember and tell myself in the morning when I'm feeling a little low, because we're human. We have those lows. We have those days. Yeah. And that's what keeps me going, those whys. Remember your whys.
You're so secure. Your smile. You're like, get it, girl. And I'm so proud of that. And I want you to remember Jackie before she reached out to Melva, right? Like how she thought about herself, the situation that you were in, how you looked, how you dressed, your relationship, and where you are today, what that lifestyle looks like. Your lifestyle today, how you wake up, how you dress, what you do, how you are. What are the things that you're most proud of for being that yes?
I'm honestly proud of the beauties that I've met. I don't know if that makes sense, but I'm proud of the friendships that I have made. Because I had mentioned previously, I cut a lot of ties of who I was, not only like as a person, but with the people that I loved. And now I'm just making more ties. I'm making those relationships, and I'm proud of being able to even be a part of some of these women. They're just so amazing. I don't even know how I deserve to have friendships like that. And it means a lot to me, I guess, more because emotionally I was just so shut off before, and now I can just do all that. But I'm also proud of myself for even getting to this point. Because I could have quit a long time ago. I could have said no. I probably could have been on medication and been like, whatever, the heck with it. I'm going to do whatever I eat, whatever I want. But I'm proud of myself for making that change and making that decision to do something and not just be, if I
just
am
say
not
it, girl.
just
say it.
not just being a wife, not just being a mom. Those are all beautiful. I'm proud to be a mom. I'm proud to be a wife. But I'm not just my husband's wife. I'm not just the kid's mom. I am Jackie. I am a part of Team Beauty. I am empowered. You know, I am now confident. And I'm not going to let anybody take or diminish me again. And that's what I've learned here.
And that's why you have all those relationships.
Yeah.
Because you've respected yourself. You've accepted self-love. You've grown. You've evolved, right? You didn't stay in that same place. Jim Rohn says, move, you're not a tree. You're not supposed to be planted, right? We're here on this earth to grow and evolve and really flourish. And you're not only creating that inside of your family, but you've been a root that has now created and flourished in other people's lives as well. And so feel very proud of that. And for the women that are listening, Jackie, that are in their journey, that are like inspired by your personal story today, what is it that you would say, like, this is what you need to do this week? Because I would take it a thing at a time, right? Like, what is it that I can do this week to improve myself, to improve my life? I don't know what the heck self-love is. Like, show me how, you know, how can I do that? If there was a couple things that you could share with them that were things that kick-started in your journey and made you more confident, made you strong, made you not give up in the middle of the week, you know, what were those things that, you know, we can act on this week that will make us more empowered and more powerful?
Wake up before everybody else does. Kids are starting school. It's going to be a little early. That's what I had to do. I woke up maybe like close to an hour before everybody else. I didn't work out. I prayed and I listened to uplifting things, you know, in the morning to get me started. And I had my tea and it was me time. Make that me time. No matter what time of the day it is. Like I said, to my husband, I was like, I need this. You know, I need me time. So work on getting even if it's 30 minutes, 15 minutes for you, do it. And you will see that change throughout your day. But also start off your day right. And remember that you're loved, that you're amazing, and you're doing this for you. You know, a lot of the time, like I mentioned before, we tend to fill, but then we become empty. And you have to remember you have to fill yourself. So don't forget to fill yourself. So remember, a little time for yourself in the morning, fill it up, and get ready for the day. Get ready for the week. Make that accomplishment that, hey, you know what? I also had a goal. You know, the minimum would be 2 pounds a week or 3. That's it. If I'm at 1, I didn't work hard enough. Honestly, that's the honest truth. And I set that goal. And I mean, I didn't get to 95 pounds not having goals set. There are step-by-steps that you have to take to get where you want to be. And that's okay. Everything is a little bit at a time. So make those goals. The little goals count for that end result that you want. So just a little bit of everything. Take the time in the morning, a little time for yourself. Remember why you're doing it, and set those little goals for the week, and that you'll get there.
And week by week, those things will accumulate.
Yes, they will.
Well, Jackie, you know, in this time, you've already showed us so much, right? That determination, dedication, drawing the line, like we're going to call it the triple D. Okay. Drawing the line, like you're so inspiring standing here today, just seeing you full of love, full of confidence. You know, you love what you do, and it shows through your words, it shows through your passion. And, you know, we admire you for everything that you've accomplished in this time and for who you are becoming, because we're not done. And so you've inspired so many people. Thank you so much for being on our podcast.
Thank you for having me.
And we'll see you guys next week.